Okay, so let's talk about AI. We use it pretty much every day, right? We ask it questions, we see its art popping up everywhere, but how does it actually work? Today, we are going to peel back the curtain and really demystify this incredible technology.
You know that feeling? You type in a question and boom, a perfect answer, a poem, or even a picture just appears. It seriously feels like magic. But of course, it's not. So, what is actually happening inside that digital black box? Well, let's dive in and find out together.
All right, to get started, the first thing we have to get our heads around is that AI isn't just a fancier version of the computer programs we're used to. No, it's a completely different beast, a whole new way of getting a computer to solve problems. Think of it like this. A traditional program, it's like a chef who can only follow a recipe, step by step. If you give it an ingredient that's not in the instructions, the whole thing just grinds to a halt. But AI, well, AI is more like we're raising a child to be a chef. We don't hand it a recipe book. Instead, we let it watch thousands of cooks, taste millions of ingredients, and over time, it just starts to learn the patterns of what makes food taste good.
Okay, so if something is going to learn, it needs a brain, right? For an AI, that brain isn't made of gray matter and synapses. Nope. It's built from code and math, but it's brilliantly inspired by our own biology.
So at the very heart of almost all modern AI, you'll find something called a neural network. This is the digital brain we're talking about, a complex web of virtual neurons designed to work a little bit like the one inside our own skulls.
And how does this brain learn? Well, just imagine it's covered in billions, literally billions of tiny digital knobs and dials. Every time the AI sees a new piece of data, it makes millions of tiny adjustments, just tweaking and tuning those knobs until it finds the perfect combination to recognize a pattern. And that pattern could be anything from the curve of a cat's ear to the structure of a perfect sentence. So we've got our digital brain. But a brain on its own is pretty useless without some kind of education. So how in the world do you teach a machine? Well, it turns out there are a few different ways. You can be a teacher, an explorer, or even a coach. The first method is called supervised learning, and it's exactly what it sounds like. We act like a teacher. We basically spoon feed the AI data that we've already labeled. We show it thousands of pictures and say, that's a bird, hey, that one's a bird too, until it finally gets it and can spot a bird all by itself. Then you've got the total opposite approach, unsupervised learning. Here we let the AI be an explorer. We just dump a massive, unlabeled pile of data in front of it, like say every news article published in a day, and its job is to figure it out. It has to find all the hidden connections and group similar things together on its own. And the third way is reinforcement learning, which is basically like being a coach. The AI learns by doing, through pure trial and error. When it makes a good move towards its goal, we give it a little digital reward, like a point. When it messes up, it gets a penalty. And after millions and millions of tries, it eventually figures out the best strategy to win the game.
But here's the absolute key, the one thing to remember about all these training methods. An AI is only ever as smart or as accurate or as unbiased as the data we train it on. That old computer science saying has never been more true. Garbage in, garbage out. If our data is messy and biased, the AI's understanding of the world will be too. And all of this brings us to the AI models that you and I use all the time. Like ChatGPT. These large language models have used these learning techniques to become absolute masters of one very specific thing: prediction. Now, if you take away only one thing from this today, let it be this: AI doesn't understand things the way we do. It's not thinking, it doesn't have ideas. It is, at its core, an incredibly powerful prediction machine. So how does that actually work in practice? Well, the AI takes the words you give it and breaks them down into little pieces called tokens. Then it looks at those tokens and, based on the billions of examples of text it's read, it calculates the most statistically likely token to come next. It picks one, adds it to the sentence, and then it does that whole process again, and again, and again, one token at a time. It's basically just playing a super, super advanced game of what word comes next. And this whole prediction engine idea, well, this is where things can get a little bit weird. Because it's also the secret to understanding one of AI's strangest and most talked about behaviors: why it sometimes just completely makes things up. These so-called hallucinations happen because the model is a text generator, not a truth generator. This is so important. Its number one goal is not to be factually correct. Its goal is to be coherent,
to create a sentence that sounds right, that is statistically probable based on its training data. So if a convincing sounding fib is more statistically likely than a complicated, messy truth, well, you can see what it might choose to generate. And because an AI learns from this huge, messy, chaotic pile of data that we humans have created on the internet, it's pretty much inevitable that it's going to inherit our flaws and our controversies too. I mean, one of the biggest debates happening right now is about generative AI and art and writing. Is it a revolutionary new tool for creation, or is it just a really high-tech plagiarist? The way to think about it is that the model is learning patterns, structures, and styles from all the data it sees. It's actually a lot more like a human art student who studies the great masters to develop their own unique style. It's not just tracing an image line for line. It's learning the how, not just copying the what. And in that exact same way, AI also learns our biases. I mean, think about it. If the data we feed it, all the text and images from decades of internet history, is full of our own societal prejudices about race or gender or anything else, then the AI is going to learn those patterns too. It's not doing it on purpose, it's just reflecting what we showed it. And that leads you to this really powerful idea. The problems we see in AI, the bias, the tendency to create misinformation, they're not really bugs in the machine. They're a reflection of the bugs in us, in our own society. The AI is a mirror. So, if AI is a mirror showing us who we are right now, what about the future? Where is all of this heading? What does the next chapter for this technology even look like? Well, today, we are living firmly in the era of narrow AI. That means every single AI you've ever used is really, really good at one specific thing, whether that's playing chess or writing an email. The idea of an artificial general intelligence, or AGI, an AI that can think and reason just like a human across tons of different areas, that's still just a theory. And artificial superintelligence, well, that's still safely in the realm of science fiction. For now. So as we stand here, really at the beginning of this new technological age, the most important question isn't just, what can AI do? The real question we have to ask ourselves is, what do we want it to become? Because, as we've seen, this technology is a mirror, and it's pointed right back at us. So, what do we want it to reflect?